Jimmy Keen's 5 months of hell, 5 months making nice to a killer he despised, had finally paid off. Hall had described in gruesome detail how he murdered Jesse Roach.
I've opened that door and he's feeling that he can trust me enough now.
But Jimmy felt he needed to wait a bit before going for the goal line.
How did you broach Trish Reitler?
And I had to slowly keep prodding because I didn't want him to think I was piling on.
So he carefully plotted his next move. Days later, he thought the time was right. He tried that hometown newspaper ploy again.
I said, you know, the newspapers say that you killed this girl from the college over here. I says, you know, what happened there?
Jimmy couldn't be sure how Hall would react. Had he been too blunt, too direct? No, it was all clicking. According to Jimmy, Hall began to open up about Tricia and said he drove his van right up to her that day he saw her outside school.
He said that he tried to kiss her, and when he did, that she started fighting very violently. And he said she was a very strong girl and she fought stronger than anybody had ever fought before.
And did he admit it?
He said that he had killed her and he knew he had done it again. And these are his words, that he knew he had done it again. And he said he went way out in the woods and he buried her way out in the woods.
Hall gave a general location for Tricia's body near a river in Indiana, but Jimmy needed more specific information. Luckily, he seemed to stumble into it a few nights later when he spotted Hall inside the prison woodshop, a restricted area.
There's nobody at the door, no guards or anything, and I went in there. And as I came up from behind him, he had all these little different statues lined up, 10, 15 of them maybe. And I couldn't tell what they were at first, and as I got closer, I noticed he had a big map laid out. And he dove on that map and folded that thing up really fast and slid it off to the side of the table. And I go, what are these things anyway? He says, they're these little falcons, and he goes, they watch over the dead, Jimmy. He goes, they do.
And they look like?
A good-sized chess piece.
Jimmy had a strong feeling that Hall's wood-carved falcons and the map were journal keeping by a serial killer.
That map had little red dots all over it of Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. You'd look down at this map and you could see all of those little spots are burial spots where he's got somebody.
All those months of dangerous, painstaking work had paid off. Jimmy had cracked the case. Mission accomplished.
Once you see the map, the falcons, you want to tell the FBI about it, right?
I did. I went to the hotline I had for the FBI girl. I called. I got some type of a voice recording. It was after hours.
So Jimmy left a message for his FBI contact to come get him, the map, and the falcons. His freedom and the answers to Tricia's parents' prayers were now just hours away.
I was elated. I felt I wrapped this up.
You're expecting the troops to come marching in.
Expecting the troops to come marching in. And it didn't quite work that way.
What he couldn't know was his FBI contact didn't get his voicemail. And his one inside contact, the chief psychiatrist, was on vacation.
Then you got a little full of yourself, didn't you?
I did. I went back to my cell. I was really happy. I thought, you know what? 24 hours, they said, they'll have me out of here. I've got what they need. This is it. So I went across to his cell over there.
Impulsively, Jimmy decided he just couldn't leave prison without giving his fake friend a piece of his mind.
The repulsiveness I felt about him throughout the whole time I had to stay being his friend, and the disdain and dislike I had for him, that I thought it was good for me to unload on him and tell him what I really thought of him and who he really was. I said, you know, I'm gonna be going home tomorrow, Larry. And I said, you're a crazy killer. And I started calling him everything you can think of.
With that, Jimmy returned to his cell and waited to be released.
You're going home the next day, you think, and things take another turn.
About 5:30 in the morning, I hear some little lady in a white doctor's smock come walking in.
It was Hall's psychologist, and she was furious that Jimmy had blasted her patient, turning him into an emotional wreck.
She told the guards, grab him, take him, throw him in the hole. So they put me in the hole and they keep me in there. And I'm not really worried. I'm thinking, so what? The FBI is going to be here. They told me 24 hours, they'll have me out of here.
But morning turned into afternoon, into evening, and the cavalry still hadn't arrived. This was hard time at its hardest.
You can't see if it's day or night because you're in the hole. But you can tell what time of the day or night it is by what meal's coming through the door slot. Well, next thing you know, here's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Next thing you know, here's coming breakfast again, here's coming lunch, and I'm like, where are these guys? My thoughts were, they did me wrong. They got what they needed, they got the info, and they pulled the rug out from under me.
While Jimmy was wondering where they were, Beaumont was looking for him too.
And we were like, where could he be? He's in a prison, for God's sakes.
They lost you.
Yeah, they lost me.
But had they also lost their best chance at finding the body of Tricia Reitler?